Good afternoon. I'm with El Paso Water. We are the municipal water utility of El Paso, the city, although we serve about 97% of the county through various wholesale contracts. I lead the communications, government affairs, and conservation programs, and the Certified Water Partner Program that was honored with the Wrangler Award was something that I helped envision and develop the strategy for, but a lot of the credit goes to my colleague Ana Padilla, who is in our audience, and it's she and her team that have really implemented it. So I wanted to make sure I gave that credit. So El Paso is often out of sight, out of mind for much of Texas. But we are a growing, thriving, and actually very safe city in the far west Texas region. We're also particularly interesting because of the water resources. Our water resources cross two nations, US, Mexico, and 3 states, New Mexico, Texas, and the state of Chihuahua. That makes for very interesting water planning, and we're talking about both aquifers and the Rio Grande. So as El Paso grows, we need new water supplies. This chart shows that in the red, that is our estimated population growth, and the blue is what we're currently using in terms of drawing water from our aquifers, drawing water from the river. And as you can see, as we grow from a population standpoint, we can't really expand what we're currently using if we want those sources to be sustainable. So the yellow are the new sources of water that we will need to continue to grow and thrive as a city. So today, most of our water comes from 2 aquifers, the Rio Grande, and we have the largest inland desalination plant in the world, actually. And that right now supplies only about 5% of our water resources, but over the next 50 years, it's going to be a much larger piece of the pie, and we're going to have to add new pieces of the pie. When you see AWPF and ASR, which is the orange slice, that's going to come from water reuse, taking the water that we're already using and reusing it, whether it's through aquifer recharge or our advanced water purification is taking the water and having it go through multiple barriers to where it will be drinking water again and go back in our system. And then we also have an importation project that is in the works. So diversification is key for our future water supply, but so is conservation. And so diversification plus conservation is what's going to make us sustainable in the long run. So El Paso has quite a history of conservation. We have reduced our per capita consumption by about 35% over the past 20, 30 years. And how have we done that? Over the years, we've done many residential programs, residential rebates, changing out fixtures, new plumbing codes, establishing a water ordinance in terms of dictating how many days a week you can water. But we have various other things too that we've done. Our leak detection and repair of our own system, a rate structure encouraging conservation. The more you use, the more you pay. Public information and education. We have a center called the Tech H2O Learning Center that has museum quality exhibits on water. And through the center, we reach about 8,000 students every year. And now, as we're moving to the future, we realize, we've really exhausted a lot of the gains that we would make in water efficiency on the residential side, but we really haven't even tapped in to the non-residential side. And the non-residential is commercial, industrial, and institutional, so public facilities. So that is where we saw the need and we saw the opportunity to create the Certified Water Partner Program. So our team in brainstorming came up with restaurants as the first sector that we wanted to work with. Everybody goes to restaurants. We work with restaurants. They use lots of water. So we thought about how do we engage restaurants and how do we approach businesses so they will be receptive to us. So we started going, our team members started going out to restaurants, and initially their reaction was, are we in trouble? Are you here to give us a citation? Because we do issue citations for water waste. And so we had to develop a rapport. And part of that is we're here to work with you and partner with you so that we can do this together. It's in our economic interest as a city. It's in our interest to do that in general. So we really focused on recognizing good behavior. And we developed a whole certified water partner seal for the restaurants so that if they met certain standards and had good practices, they'd get a seal. And we also had other criteria. How they managed their wastewater had to be in compliance. They had to be, we chose to go with only those that have a meter so we could truly measure water. We decided to focus on primarily El Paso-based restaurants as a priority. So those are the various screening criteria as we went in and did the various audits. So with the seal, they were able to put the seal on their window and put it on menus. We had bathroom signs telling customers or talking to customers about sustainability and saving water. And we had kids' activities sheets so that when the kids come into the restaurants, they had something to do, and parents always like that with young kids. The restaurants loved it from a publicity standpoint. We gave them lots of publicity in terms of social media and would do some actual traditional media. And so as we finished our pilot, we looked at how did this go? Did we accomplish what we set out to? And the positives were the restaurants were truly engaged. They enjoyed it. They liked the credit. The customers also we were able to connect with. Positive publicity for us and for them. And then we sat back and said, you know what? We're not getting the water savings that we really wanted. So we've got to adjust our pilot and do something different. So we retained Allen Plummer and Associates to do a benchmarking study for us where we looked at 3 years of water consumption data to figure out what are the sectors that are using the most water and where is our opportunity to adapt this program going forward. And a couple of the interesting things that stood out is the institution sector, which is schools and government and public facilities. Small number of accounts, large amount of consumption, and the same was true for the multifamily sector, which is apartment complexes. Small number of accounts, large amount of consumption, kind of the opposite on commercial. And it took us back and we thought, well, gosh, maybe we need to rethink about this. We also looked at how the customer consumption went and who were the big users. And we thought, gosh, we've been looking at these little restaurants, and while it's good publicity and good outreach, we're just not getting the water savings. Maybe we need to focus in a bigger way. So what we decided to do, and this was a little over a year ago, is switch gears and look at both the City of El Paso and look at multifamily and see what we could do to adapt our model to work with those organizations, those types of institutions. So with the city, we decided we would work with them and get their buy-in to go in and look at a lot of their facilities. And luckily we were able to develop a good partnership. And then we went in and to fire stations, police stations, the zoo, public libraries, recreation centers. And they invited us to audit essentially about 250 facilities. We still haven't gotten through all 250. But And we found with the zoo, that was our truly first certified water partner, where it was a really mutually beneficial project where it was an in-depth audit for 4 days. But they were excited about it because it also gave them the opportunity to use that as part of an accreditation process they were seeking, which they were able to successfully get, and they gave us a little bit of credit. Obviously, it was a lot more than that. So they were our first institutional category certified water partner. And then as we worked with the various other types of facilities, we've audited, it says 63, I think we're over that now, but a number of the fire stations had very good practices, and we found that pretty consistently across the fire stations. A smaller number of police stations, a smaller number of libraries, but overall, we were finding, especially with the older facilities, there simply weren't the resources to go in and change out fixtures and make some more water efficiency improvements, and there was an opportunity for us in that. And so as we look at working with the city now, it's not just awarding the zoo and those who are the partners, but we're trying to provide a helping hand and help those that are less efficient. And so we developed a memorandum of understanding with the city. We are providing them a grant in which they can use at their discretion to change out various fixtures that we identified throughout the auditing reports. So they have to use things that we've identified as something that needs to be improved, but they also have some discretion. For example, we heard they really would rather not change out some of the toilets because once the toilets come out, then you've got to repair tile and do other things. So they'd rather do kitchen facilities and bathroom facilities and things like that, but they have that discretion to be able to do that. So we're continuing to work with the city. While the numbers here look fairly modest, this is really only representing work to be done at about 20 facilities. And so it's going to be scaled up both with city government and as we move forward with other institutional partners. And then in the multifamily sector, we are looking at some of the larger management companies that have a whole host of apartment complexes. And this is an example of one. This is Integrity Asset Management, where they have 45 or so apartment complexes, and we assessed their water use across all of their facilities, and we identified those that were very water efficient, many that were in the middle according to national standards, and then about 10 that really were of low water efficiency. And in our meeting with them, we've offered to do some matching grants to help give a hand to those that aren't as efficient, but also, again, talking about how do we work with you to award some of your higher efficiency complexes with a certified water partner program, and you can use that in your marketing, and you can take pride in some of the facilities, and hopefully over time create some competition and want others to rise to that level as well. So really we're looking at how we take this model that we've created of the recognition and the helping hand. Somebody at one point said, is this sort of a carrot and stick kind of program? And I said, it's a carrot program, but we don't want to give them a stick. We want to give them a helping hand. So it's how do we recognize and reward those that are doing well? How do we connect with their customers and their audiences? And then how do we help those who are laggards to come up to standards? And through that, we think we're going to make very good conservation strides. Looking to the future in terms of future water sectors, not water sectors, business sectors, we're looking at car washes, salons, gyms, grocery stores, any of those sectors that are heavy water users. And that is really going to create an excellent opportunity for us to meet our targets as we go forward. We have a 5-year conservation plan that we submit to the Texas Water Development Board every 5 years, in which we set out our targets and how we're going to reduce consumption and how we're going to make sure that our our consumption per person per day continues to go down so that we're meeting our targets and the state is meeting its targets overall. And the Certified Water Partner Program, while in its infancy or toddler stage right now, really, as we expand sectors, as we expand throughout the public sector, is going to be key in helping us meet our objectives and the state's objectives in terms of water sustainability. And finally, I just wanted to give a special thanks to Texan by Nature, to board member Adair Margot, who encouraged us to apply and who's always a good friend of ours, and to Joni and Taylor Keys and the staff who've been very responsive and have come to the table with their own ideas. In fact, Taylor was out a couple of weeks ago, and we were going around and working on a video that, not quite ready for prime time, but we're working on video on the program, and she kept bringing up these questions and ideas, and it was like, ooh, we hadn't thought of that. That's a really good idea. So I think that Texan by Nature has also given us some new ideas in terms of, for example, in the fire station, some of the firemen working there weren't really even aware that their station had been a certified partner. And so we're trying to think, how do we better engage some of the employees in that setting? And that's just one of these examples. So thank you. It's a pleasure to be recognized among so many interesting projects. It's been fun listening to this, and if you have any questions, I look forward to answering them later.